Hey guys, so today I wanted to go over some basic rolling Kimura trap entries. So basically, oftentimes what we'll do is we'll roll for Kimura when our opponent is sitting up, right? Or in a knee shield position, or perhaps in an inside hook position. So for instance, when my opponent is sitting up here, right, I have to penetrate the little hole here. So as you know, with leg locking, I usually backstep here, right? But oftentimes the opponent knows, especially when they're dealing with the leg locker, to do that. So what happens is, as I go here, they'll post and then they'll scoot away and then enter back in with shin on shin, right? So what happens is, notice this. Turn this way. So as I come in and he posts to scoot away, his arm is posting on the mat. So remember the same concept that we use when opponents in our guard, right? We're on the bottom, they're on top. If they post their arm on the mat, it's susceptible to a Kimura. So same concept applies here, right? So if I come in, he posts to scoot away, that arm I could roll for, right? This arm. The same way I would attack with the Kimura from the bottom. The only difference is when I roll, I'm going to roll basically Kimura his arm and shoulder roll, right? So as I go for here, right, shoulder roll, boom. He turns into me, I insert my knee, step over, open him up. Notice, I need to roll him that way. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this hook to open him up, and I'm gonna place this leg's hook on his hip. So I can adjust my hips and go for the triangle here. From here I can attack with an arm bar, wrist lock, or just a triangle itself, right? Sometimes what happens is, before I lock it, they'll start to come up to their knees and they'll just get caught in the regular triangle, okay? So that's the concept, right? Anytime our opponent's arm is available, we'll roll. So the way we practice, the most basic way of doing it is I step in, right? And then I roll for it. So, scoot this way. So as I step in, he's not doing any scooting or anything, right? All I'm doing is I'm getting low, stepping in, getting on the arm, all right? He's gonna move his head out of the way for now because he's smaller. So if you're doing it with a smaller person, just have them tilt their head to the side so I don't hurt him when I roll, right? So I get here to the arm and I shoulder roll, right? As he turns, notice if I have all this space here, sometimes he'll be able to turn into me, okay? So what I wanna do is once I've rolled, I wanna suck that elbow into me, right? So once I've sucked that elbow into me, he starts to turn into me, giving me that little space underneath so I can enter my knee underneath him. So now I come over the arm and I open him with this leg by pulling him across. Now, once this foot comes out, I place it on his hip so I can pivot and get the triangle locked in, right? To finish the triangle, I want to be squeezing with my legs here, boom, right? Or I can attack an arm, right? Just come underneath, boom, extend the arm, or wrist lock him. If he's straining the wrist lock, all I'm gonna do is look, I'm gonna turn it, punch underneath it, boom, and hit it, right? So turn, punch underneath, and I'll break it right here. All right, so one more time. All I'm gonna do is step in, right? Catch, boom. I'm exposing his arm, I'm gonna hook underneath. Now, all I'm gonna do is roll over the same side shoulder. The shoulder that's pointing towards him. Not the back shoulder, but the lead shoulder, right? So I'm here, catching my Kimura, and just shoulder roll, right? Sucking that elbow in once I've rolled. He starts to turn, my knee goes into that little peak hole, right? And then from here, all I'm doing is stepping over and turning him with this hook here. Turned with the hook, this foot comes out, stomps on his hip here. This way or that way, doesn't really matter. All I need is a point of traction so I can pivot, right? And then I'm just gonna lock my triangle, squeeze, right? arm bar from here, or I'm going to wrist lock him. If I have to turn, smash underneath, wrist lock him. Okay? So that's the most basic option. Another option is a little more advanced. So what happens oftentimes is when my opponent is sitting here and I start to enter, right, they're gonna fall in for the inside de la jiba, right? That's another option, not shin on shin, but to fall for the inside de la jiba. They have good control my shin, yep. So my opponent's controlling my leg here, he's controlling my hip. So first and foremost, I need to square him, right? So I usually get this leg off, right, and then I square him up to get my knee into their chest, okay? They usually reinforce the de la jiba with the bottom leg here, right? Because they're square right now and they don't have as much control, right? They're no longer on the hip. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna catch the arm, and instead of rolling for it right away, what I need to do is I need to create space. So I'm gonna push it up, right, to create space. Now I can roll, boom, here, same thing. Elbow into my chest, it starts to move, my knee gets underneath, I step over to roll him open, step on the hip for traction, lock my triangle, okay? So one more time, he's sitting, I come in, he falls for the de la jiba, right? Boom, like so. So I'm just gonna get this leg free and I'm gonna square him up, right? So now he's gonna be flat on his back, he's gonna reinforce his legs, right? I'm gonna keep him flat. Usually I'm gonna use this hand, insert it right into the armpit, right? To keep him flat. So I'm gonna catch the arm, I'm gonna push it up to create space here, and all I'm gonna do is just shoulder roll, tuck his elbow into my chest. He's gonna start to turn, I'm gonna follow, my knee's gonna go inside, I'm gonna step over, and once I've stepped over, I'm gonna open him up with that leg. Now this leg's gonna go in the hip, right? Traction, I'm going to lock my triangle. Now, if the triangle, as I'm trying to lock, he turns, right? Boom, I'm gonna lock the typical normal triangle from here, right? One thing you do need to be aware of, go here. One thing you do need to be aware of, set into my triangle. When I'm in the triangle here and I catch him, is that he can connect his hands together, put pressure onto my knee that way, right? And start to walk around and hop over me to escape the triangle, okay? That's also an option for escaping the triangle. So you have to make sure that when you control the triangle, you don't allow him to transfer the weight that way towards that knee. Let's say he puts me in a triangle, right? He put me in a triangle, I got my arm deep in here, right? Now I'm loading this knee here, right? I start to walk around, right? And I hop over to clear, right? Once I clear the triangle, right? Turn this way. Once I clear the triangle, check this out, guys. So I'm here, right? I have this good control, reverse sitting control. Watch, I'm gonna hook with my heel behind his heel. I'm gonna extend his leg, all right? So once I've extended the leg, this leg's gonna come up and it's gonna connect to my calf, like so. Once it's connected to my calf like so, all I'm gonna do is step over and underhook this leg. Usually this leg is not gonna be too extended. Exactly, right? So I have this connection here. Once I have this connection, what I have to do is sit up, catch the shin and roll, right? So once I've rolled, two options. Option one is to catch him at his toes, right? Because usually this is the defending leg, and to attack with the calf slicer, right? Why am I catching the toes or hiding the leg here before I attack here? Well, the reason being, if I attack with both arms, A, I'm susceptible to an armbar here, right? But how can I remediate it? I can go underneath this arm here and still use both arms without exposing my arm. Or if I go here, if he does not pull the arm into an armbar, right, what he can do is he can kick the arm off with his free leg. Kick the arm off, the other arm. Yes, boom, and then he can free the other one. Kick the other one, boom, right? So that's why you know, I would want to hide the leg here and attack with the calf slicer like so, or I transfer the leg past me here, right, and attack with a calf slicer like so, right? I can't even come in here because at this point it's going to be fast because it's going to take him time to get this leg in front to kick out, right? Another option I have here is basically all I'm going to do is just bite down right here, right? So like I'm talking on the telephone, right? I'm going to catch him right at his knees, and I'm going to step here extending him as I'm pulling his knee down. Okay, so extension as I'm pulling his knee down. And another option I have is I kick out here, catch at the toes, come underneath, and heel hook them from this position right here, right? Or the last but not least option is to just extend them, right? I could go for the back take, but notice the position here. All I have to do is catch at the wrist, boom, and proceed to the twister instead of taking the back. Because if I already have this extension, why go for points if I can go for submission? Provided that the rule set allows that. All right, guys, so that was basically like the basic entries for the rolling Kimura attacks. There's a ton of other attacks that you can do that you can chain after the fact, but I just want you to understand the fact that you can attack with rolling Kimuras anytime your opponent's arm is exposed, or you can make their arm exposed and attack with rolling Kimuras. Going forward, I'll show some more things like from knee on shield and from half guard, but for now, that's the most basic. Opponent sitting up, opponent shin on shin, and opponent with the reverse de la Hiva. All right, os.